That down. What's going on here? What are you doing? What are you doing? Can you not talk to me?
Just for the...
Quentin Tarantino doesn't ghost people, he cuts them. When he's done with you, there's no fade out, no quiet, maybe next time. It's an edit, one frame you exist, the next you're gone. For 3 decades, he's treated casting like sacred geometry. Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, Inglourious Bastards, Django Unchained. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, all of them stitched from a stock company of actors who fit his rhythm like needle drops. He's obsessive, he's loyal, he's brutal. If you're in your family, if you're out, you're not just replaced, you're erased. Tonight, we're stepping into a darker reel. At 62, Quentin Tarantino names the 7 actors he hated, or in his language, the ones he would never let back into his world. 1. Warren Beatty, the director who tried to direct him. This is where we start, not where the tabloids do, because the story of Quentin's grudges begins with Control. Long before David Carradine became Bill, that role, the Bill in Kill Bill, was tailored for Warren Beatty. Tarantino imagined him as the aging poet-assassin, mythic, seductive, dangerously calm. Early meetings went well, until they didn't. Beatty wasn't just a star, he was a filmmaker, and he acted like it. He had notes, instincts, ideas about how Bill should talk, move, be framed. On anyone else's set, that's collaboration. On Tarantino's, that's trespassing. Quentin writes movies like symphonies. Every line lands on a beat, every shot obeys a rhythm in his head. Beatty started rewriting measures, wrong move, quietly. The energy shifted. The role wasn't going to work. Tarantino refused to share authorship of his revenge opera. Beatty walked, Carradine walked in, walked. And when Quentin was later asked what happened, he dropped the line that might as well be carved into the gates of his universe. I needed someone who understood it wasn't their story. You try to direct the director, you're done. No cameos, no half apologies, no second chance. Beatty didn't publicly attack him. Quentin didn't publicly torch him. He just left him on the cutting room floor of his career. 2. Steve Buscemi, The Lost Dog. This one hurts people because Steve Buscemi as Mr. Pink in Reservoir Dogs is burned into indie film history. The rat-a-tat refusal to tip rant, the wiry panic, the perfect neurotic danger. It helped launch Tarantino as a director who could turn talk into a weapon, which is why his absence from the rest of Tarantino's filmography feels like a story in itself. No Pulp Fiction, no Kill Bill, no Bastards, no late career resurrection. For a director who obsessively reuses his people, leaving Buscemi behind is loud. Over the years, rumors have drifted about real-life tipping arguments, political clashes, unscheduling conflicts, mismatched vibes, nothing definitive. That's the point. In Tarantino's world, some people simply get one shot. If you don't become part of the inner orbit, Jackson, Thurman, Roth, Madsen, you drift into the outer dark. Buscemi never trashed Quentin. Quentin never slandered Buscemi. But when asked why Mr. Pink never came back in another skin, Tarantino's answer has always had that cold finality. Sometimes that movie is your story with me. And that's it. In his universe, silence is a verdict. 3. Bruce Willis, the star who didn't bend. Pulp Fiction rescued careers, rewired cinema, and reminded the world that John Travolta could dance and Samuel L. Jackson could turn scripture into shrapnel. For Bruce Willis, it was a lifeline too. After a string of misfires, playing Butch the Boxer gave him grit again. But Tarantino's set isn't built for untouchable action gods. It's built for actors who treat the script as scripture. Willis came from a world where stars improvise, tweak, dominate tone. Quentin came from a video store where dialogue is sacred architecture, behind the scenes. The chemistry was functional, not family. Quentin never raves about him in the way he does about Travolta or Jackson. No repeat call, no affectionate myth-making. He'll praise the movie, the ensemble, the scenes, then glide right past Willis like his name belongs to another reel. Willis, for his part, stayed polite, distant, no gushing about Tarantino as the comeback kingmaker. No, I owe him everything. 2 men who benefited each other tore and then stepped cleanly away. In Tarantino terms, that's emotional exile. If he loves you, he writes for you again. He didn't. 4. George Clooney, The Polished Outsider. Before From Dusk Till Dawn, 1996. George Clooney was TV famous, not mythic. That blood-soaked, fanged fever dream of a movie helped flip the switch. Quentin wrote it, Clooney co-starred. It should have been the start of a great cinematic bromance. It wasn't. Tarantino worships rawness. Clooney is constructed charm, suave, self-aware, effortlessly likable, brilliant in the right story, but never really a Tarantino archetype. Over time, Quentin made cracks that landed like clean cuts, questioning Clooney's movie star aura, challenging the weight of his filmography, implying that charisma isn't the same as danger. Clooney answered with that calm press junket steel, pointing to Ocean's 11, Syriana, Michael Clayton. No tantrum. Just receipts. But the damage was done. Quentin recycles the actors he loves. Clooney is nowhere in that loop. No scripts, no cameos, not even fantasy casting jokes. For a director who lives on pop cultural memory, that omission is its own monologue. 5. Lawrence Tierney, The Legend. Quentin couldn't control. Now we get loud. Lawrence Tierney came into Reservoir Dogs like a ghost from the golden age of tough guys. Casting him as Joe Cabot was a flex. This kid director had pulled in a real deal heavy. On screen, it works. Off screen, it was chaos. Tierney was volatile, forgetful with lines, combative with direction. Crew members have described him as a grenade with the pin pre-pulled for a first-time director obsessed with timing. That was nightmare fuel. The story goes, argument over blocking, tempers blasting, Quentin firing him mid-shoot. Later, he described Tierney like a senile uncle off his meds. Brutal. Other cast vouched. The tension was real. Every day was a bet. Would they get the scene before Tierney detonated, despite Dogs becoming a cult classic? Quentin almost never romanticizes Tierney in his nostalgic ramblings. The erasure is nearly complete. Oh, it's as if Joe Cabot exists. Lawrence Tierney does not. That's Tarantino's version of hate. The work survives. You don't. 6. Spike Lee, The Public Enemy. Yes, he's a director, not just an actor, but he lives here because this is the one Tarantino clash that never went quiet. Spike Lee called out Tarantino for his repeated use of the N-word, questioning whether a white filmmaker was infatuated with the term and who he thought he was writing black characters the way he did. It wasn't a casual critique, it was a direct moral challenge. Tarantino fired back, hard. He has no right to tell any other artist what they can or cannot say. The exchange escalated. Django Unchained. Slavery. Representation. Who gets to tell which stories? Spike called Django disrespectful and refused to see it. Quentin dismissed Spike as bitter. Commentators called it a feud. This isn't a disagreement over blocking or billing. This is ideology versus authorship. And from Tarantino's side, the door is dead-bolted. No cameo, no collaboration, no olive branch. In his mental casting file, Spike's name is inked in red. If the others on this list are exiles, Spike is the one man Tarantino seems to enjoy not forgiving. 7. Michael Madsen, the fallen favorite, in Quentin's mind. To complete the 7, we turn to someone Tarantino once adored. Michael Madsen was supposed to be one of Quentin's great recurring gunslingers. Mr. Blonde in Reservoir Dogs. Scheduled to be Vincent Vega before he said no and opened the door for Travolta. Back as Bud in Kill Bill. All beer, dust, and regret. He fit Quentin's world like a boot print in blood, but loyalty, in Tarantino's code, is more than nostalgia. As the years went on, Madsen's off-screen troubles, inconsistency, and legal issues made him a risk. The sharp menace turned, at times, into something Quentin couldn't shape, publicly. Quentin still talks with affection, privately. The pattern says something else. The roles shrank, the calls slowed. When Quentin mapped his later films, Bastards, Django, Hollywood, the go-to bad man of his early years faded from the plans. Tarantino doesn't tend to half-cancel people. If he can't rely on you, he can't write for you. And for a writer-director who treats characters like instruments, An out-of-tune violin is worse than no music at all. Madsen isn't blasted in interviews. He's not mocked. He's simply not there. For Tarantino, that's the real death sentence. What hate means in Tarantino's world. Here's the twist. Quentin Tarantino rarely gets up on a stage and says, I hate this actor. He doesn't have to in his universe. Casting is confession. Who he brings back and who he buries in silence tells the story. Warren Beatty tried to share the wheel. Gone. Steve Buscemi helped build the house. Never invited back inside. Bruce Willis brought star wattage. No second round. George Clooney rose on a film he birthed, cut from the mythos. Lawrence Tierney disrespected the set, edited out of memory. Spike Lee challenged his right to speak, turned into a permanent target. Michael Madsen, once a chosen one, slipped from the circle when reliability cracked. For Tarantino, it's never just about talent. It's trust, submission to the script, respect for the process, and an instinctive fit with his very specific, very obsessive cinematic religion. Step out of rhythm even once, and he may decide your story with him is over. No reunions, no sentimental nostalgia, just a clean cut. And that, more than any shouted insult, is what hate looks like in Quentin Tarantino's world. Not flames, finality. If you want more brutal behind-the-scenes stories, breakdowns of Hollywood loyalties, and the hidden rules powerful directors live by, hit subscribe. Drop a comment on who you think Tarantino secretly blacklisted, and tell us whose absence from his movies do you notice the most?